Thank you very much for the introduction, Rose, and we'd also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians here in Darwin, the Larrakia people of the land on which I work and live, and I pay my respects to their culture and their elders past, present and emerging. And speaking of emerging, here's an emerging female. Thank you very much to Sam Bond for all of her nematode photos. We'd start off with the history of the incursion. And it was in October of 2022, that Guava retinol was detected on an organic farm in the Middle Point region. And Middle Point is heading out along the Arnhem Highway out towards Kakadu, but you don't go that far. It's about 45 minutes down the highway. The root knot nematode had not been previously recorded in Australia. And actually there's quite limited validated information about the nematode fauna here in the Northern Territory. But it is presumed that Javanica, Meloidogyne javanica, and Meloidogyne incognita are present. But once again, their presence has not been validated. But a retrospective analysis of a Chile sample submitted a year before confirmed that a case from a suburban backyard in Malak was actually our first detection of Meloidogyne enterolobii. So what this means is in that ensuing year, from October 2021, there was no knowledge of the presence of this nematode. So really there was no active management, surveillance or interventions to prevent any distribution or movement of material from the property or from suburban properties or from any other growers in the Darwin region. The diagnostics were carried out by the two stages of the diagnostics were carried out by Sam Bond and the molecular diagnostic team here. We'd like to acknowledge the AMIC for capturing this photograph of a cucumber root system with quite advanced galling. Sam was able to extract mature females from galls and place these directly into lysis buffer. So we're talking about individuals into a extraction tube, and this is using the QIAGEN blood and tissue kit. And basically we had a lot of confidence in two approaches to direct sequencing of the individual. And that was sequencing of the COX-1 gene region using a set of published primers, but also species-specific primers, MEF and MER, were also used to be able to provide a species-level identity. And since the discovery in October last year, surveillance, both active and passive, has been going on in the territory, both in the Darwin region and then also in that Darwin rural region extending out past Middle Point, but then also through our biosecurity network, we also are receiving samples from as far south as Alice Springs, Mataranka, and potentially also the Douglas Daly area, although we haven't received samples as yet because the dry season planting has not yet commenced. But the surveillance over the past years have identified a number of crop hosts in the Solanaceae particularly, but then also in the Cucurbitaceae as well. One consistent host would be okra, which has grown throughout the entire year with very little break. And then moving into the legumes, as well as sweet potato as well as identified crop hosts. We also have identified a number of weed hosts, and I don't think we've actually completed the identification of weed or ornamental hosts as yet, because we really don't have the capability to be able to go out and screen weed hosts. I guess our priority would be on crop hosts. So in the current situation in Australia, the Consultative Committee on Emergency Plant Pests determined that because of the long duration between the initial detection and and our confirmation in October, and the broad distribution of the pathogen and its hosts across Darwin and the Darwin rural area, is that it was not deemed technically feasible for eradication. And so we've been aiming to support farmers transition to long-term management. But in our first step is to really complete our delimitation and also improved our diagnostics to improve our throughput and speed at which we can turn around diagnoses. This, of course, is without having dedicated staff focused on this particular issue. We're working with farmers, including our original organic farmer, to determine and develop rotations to reduce loads. However, one of the constraints is finding rotations that actually can provide a financial return during that off-season or that fallow time. And so really our take-home message at this stage is really all about on-farm biosecurity, especially the awareness around materials and products coming onto your farm, the sharing of plant materials, and then I guess having an awareness about the source of your growing or tube stock or seed material, and making sure that it comes from a certified distributor, and then just basically making sure that interstate movements are not approved, and including those from overseas without the correct permitting. This has really been a coalition of the willing, not only our own team here in the Northern Territory, Sam, Charles and the molecular team, the molecular diagnostic team, but our support expertise has come from Mike and Dan in Cyro in Canberra, and they had a great internship, which really helped build our capacity from Wayne around Christmas time during when we were quite busy, and that really, really did help us. And of course, the extension and outreach to both commercial community farms and our household growers has been facilitated through TISHA and the NT Farmers Association. And thanks to Rosalie and Shakira for the invitation to contribute.